Hey everyone, welcome to the Woolhead Podcast. I'm James Marshall, and firstly, thanks to all the responses to my request for an intro or a jingle that I put up on Instagram. I had a lot of messages from people asking me why I don't have a jingle yet, so I thought I'd just chuck it on my Instagram page and see if anyone was keen to give it a go. And blown away with the response. I had 4 attempts straight away in the first half an hour from people, so I had to take it down. So really appreciate the effort from you 4 guys who were keen to give it a crack. They were all really awesome attempts, but this one is my favourite. So shout out to Alex Malcolm, yes, the legend of Marty Banks, and Alexander Harmer for coming together and creating this jingle. It's been stuck in my head for the last week, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. So this is the What a Lad jingle. Here you go.
What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad. What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
How good is that? It's been stuck in my head for days, like I said. I'm a big fan of it. Hopefully you guys enjoy that too. But anyway, let's get to today's episode as we have a current star of international rugby scene, and he's only 24 years old. This Welsh rugby legend has had an incredible journey to the top, but it hasn't all been smooth sailing for the kid. He first started out at London Irish at the tender age of 18. He then went on to play for England at the Under-20s World Cup, where he played a starring role for them. He then moved up to the Newcastle Falcons, and he's currently with the Scarlets in Wales, where he's obviously playing international rugby for Wales. And of course, like all my guests, he is an absolute lad. It is Johnny Williams. Welcome, John boy.
Hey, good to be on, mate. Thanks for having me.
Hey, what do you think of the jingle?
Mate, it's good. What a jingle.
Your head was bobbing. You were into it, eh? You were
Yeah, I was loving life. I'm loving life. It's good to see you, mate. It's been so long as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it sure has. Been good to see your face on the big screen, though. I've still been following your career closely. And, mate, you've been going so good. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, I know. Just the highs and lows of sport, I guess, you know. So, yeah, I had a little injury patch recently with my concussion. But, no, back on the pitch now. And hopefully it goes well, mate.
Talking about highs and lows, mate, your career has been the ultimate highs and lows, eh? Like, you've hit some real highs in your career and you've hit some real lows. But no doubt we'll get into that throughout the podcast.
Yeah.
But how's the Six Nations with Wales been? You guys have been on fire. What's it been like being in that camp?
Yeah, really good, mate. Yeah, the training's intense and hard. But yeah, it's a winning camp and it's a good one. So far, so good. Obviously, at the start, I had the start against Ireland, only played 20 minutes. So that was obviously the high, and then being injured with concussion and stuff, which is, you know, the highs and lows, of course. But we were going really well, winning every game, and it's a winning camp, a good camp. And, you know, it was a shame that we pulled up short against France, but mate, it was a good camp.
And so you were available the last couple of weeks, were you? Or are you still out with your head knock?
No, back fit. So I was back fit for England, Italy and France, and just missed out on selection basically. So gutted about that, but the boys are doing well and there's a winning team, so it's hard to get back in once those boys are going well. Yeah,
and you've also got some quality midfielders over there at the moment too, haven't you?
Yeah, really experienced class British and Irish line centres, and then Willis Halaholo. Did you play? You played with him at the Canes, didn't you?
How good's he?
Yeah, good feet, good player, good lad. What a lad!
What a lad! He needs to get on here.
What a lad! Yeah, get him on. So I know. So tough. Once I had my shot, but I guess only 20 minutes, and it's not like, you know, I didn't go well and I didn't go badly. Not much I could have done in that 20 minutes, but when the boys are winning and going as well as they were, it's hard to play myself back in. And with Jonathan Davis and George North. George North's got 100 caps, Jonathan Davis 80 odd caps. So British and Irish Lions, you know, it's hard to get in the squad when those boys are going so well. So,
mate, you said you weren't going that well, but you were carving it up. You were even named in Sam Warburton's team to tour South Africa for the British and Irish Lions, starting 12. How good was that?
Yeah, he took a punt, didn't he? a 1,000-to-1 outsider, Lazarus. Yeah, so I doubt I'll be in that. He'd name me in that again, but If I have the game time again, hopefully I can prove that I should be. But it is what it is.
Yeah, because I know when people get put into teams like that, you usually cop more abuse than anything from people like, "Whoa, what's he doing in there?" Did you cop much from that?
Nah, not to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's
I had a look at the comments, but and they were like, "Who is that? Who is that? Who is that?" So yeah, no, I had a good old giggle about it, but no, it's obviously from Sam Warburton, really privileged to be named in his team, but yeah, it would probably be different now.
Even the Welsh fans are pretty brutal, eh? Like even in the weekend, I saw the post from the rugby union of the abuse Liam Williams copped after that game. It was all pretty brutal stuff, eh? So is there quite a bit of that over there?
I've not experienced much of that myself, but as you said, because it was such a big game and there was so much riding on it, obviously, and the whole of the nation would have been watching that game. But it's just still unacceptable, isn't it? To be saying that death threats, the abuse that he copped, and not just him, other boys copped, but because I guess he is a high-profile player, he did get so much more. But it's still unacceptable. You can't just. I get obviously the disappointment of not winning, but it wasn't like. I think he got a lot of the abuse for getting the yellow card, but it's not like that alone cost us the Grand Slam. So there's not even that much truth in what they're saying anyway. But yeah, no, I've not experienced that much, but I'm sure I will cop some abuse by fans when they're back.
Once they know who you are.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, but anyway, let's crack into your journey. Let's go right back to the start for a young Johnny Williams. What was it like for you growing up?
So my dad was my big rugby influence in life. So he's also the Welsh connection, Welsh speaking. So he obviously got me going into rugby, and being around here, London Irish was my academy that I was brought up from. So, and that's where I met Jimmy Marshall. What a lad! And since London Irish, then I transferred then to Newcastle Falcons, and then obviously to Scarlets, and now doing well to get into the squad. So it feels right that I've taken that path and to play international rugby for Wales, because that was my rugby influence through my dad, who showed me rugby, and also the Welsh influence as well. So yeah, so far so good.
You've just skipped through your whole career in one sentence.
Yeah, I don't want to bore everyone,
But so you obviously made the London Irish at 18 years old, so that's so young to be making your debut for them. Yeah. So how did that come about? How did you get into there so quickly? You must have been a schoolboy sensation.
Well, so I was at London Irish then, and Tom Coventry and Clark Laidlaw were doing the attack, and a couple of injuries, and I was lucky enough to be given a shot in the Challenge Cup against Agen. Yeah, and I got man of the match in that game and went well. And so since I had that opportunity, I just kind of ended up keeping the shirt. So, as you said, 18, turning 19. And that year was such a big year for us, because I think we were bottom of the league, looking like we were going to be relegated. So it was almost like I was on such a high from, being the starter and first year out of school. Yeah. But the pressure was massively on to keep us up. And it was almost like, at school, you're just having fun, having a crack with your lads. And then it was very much the scary world of the professional rugby, which was all about winning and staying up. And these are must-win games, where I wouldn't say it's enjoyable, but, I was just happy to be there playing in the Prem. So playing against some of my idols. Yeah. And so it's a wake-up call, chucked in the deep end, as you like.
Did you always feel confident going into that environment? Like, obviously so young, were you confident you could compete at that level, even though you hadn't experienced any of it?
I wouldn't say, I had doubts, if you're chucked onto that stage, you're like, am I physical enough? Am I good enough? But within a couple of games, I had quite a good start, and then you just get the self-confidence from that. Yeah. So it was almost like I had to prove to myself and to others that I deserved to be there. But I look back on that, and I was chucked in massive games, like big relegation games, so young. And I still consider myself as young at 24, but it almost feels like I've got that experience in the bank.
100%. And one thing that was very obvious from the outset when you first started was your ability to get guaranteed gain line and lightning quick ball, and you still got the best stats in pro footy with those. How do you do it?
I just run hard, but yeah. So with the game plan, it was very much like, well, that's what they wanted from the 12. I don't know if that's what you thought when you were there. That's what they really wanted, and I thought I did have a lot more to my game, but I never got to show that as much because they just wanted a big crash ball 12, you know.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that from the age of 18, and now it's very much like I want to show other parts of my game. So hopefully I'm doing that.
You are. So then what was it like going from already playing in the Premiership to then going across to the under-20s? What was that like, that World Cup?
Again, it was almost like because we were playing Premiership and there was a few boys in that under-20 squad who were playing Premiership.
Yeah.
We almost brought that experience with us. And I guess a couple of the boys did look up to us because we had that Premiership experience, like you said, to add to the group. In the Six Nations earlier that season, I think they came second last.
Oh, right.
And then all of a sudden for the World Cup, we had all the Premiership boys come in, and we just added, and it went from strength to strength, and we ended up winning the Six Nations. It was almost like 1,000 to 1 outsiders. So good each way bet, go that, and. Yeah, we ended up winning it. It was fantastic. I look back on that with massive pride, you know. So because everyone did doubt us after having such a bad Six Nations, and again, everyone's our age, good nights out after, and as you said, we did get relegated that season, so it was almost like such a negative.
Yeah.
So then go to there and win the World Cup, and it was like, right, okay, I can be part of a winning team and actually enjoy my rugby a little bit.
So was there a decision for you to make when you decided to play for the England under-20s?
So my age grade stuff was quite complicated. So I ended up playing Wales under-16s, but I didn't originally make Wales under-16s or England Southwest. So I got called up to Wales under-16s through an injury, luckily enough. And then from Wales under-16s, it went straight into under-18s. They skipped out the under-17 section. Yeah. So I never got the call up or make it to under-18s a year early, if that makes sense. Whereas England under-17s, this is where it might get a bit complicated, but England under-17s called me up. So I went from Wales under-16s to then to England under-17.
Yeah.
And I just stayed in the England pathway since then, before then signing for Scarlets and then getting the call up to international for Wales then.
True. So when you finished that World Cup, were your sights on playing for England?
It's a tough question because I think that was the natural progression. Yeah. But like I said earlier, my dad was a massive influence on me in my rugby career, and also him being Welsh and Welsh speaking, that was the influence to go and play for Wales. Yeah. So he had a debenture, a millennium, and so he used to take us as a kid to go watch Wales play every single game, and it was being in the stands watching with him was the reason I wanted to be on that pitch, was watching Wales play rugby. Yeah. So obviously Wales sort of born and bred, and things got in between that. I guess that was the natural progression, but feels so good and feels so right. And it's almost like it's come around that I'm finally on the pitch in the Principality Stadium playing for Wales. Yeah. When that was why I wanted to play rugby, you know, it being in the stand with my dad watching Wales play. And I remember as a young kid saying, I really want to be on that pitch playing. And yeah, ever since then, it just feels so right that I'm doing that now at the Principality for Wales. I can't explain it.
How good's that?
Yeah. So it's, as you said, it's come a long way, and it's gone in a roundabout way, and it's not been a straight path to the top. But you know, it does feel right that I'm now playing for Wales.
Yeah. So we'll go back to your London Irish, because you talked about the relegation, then you got promoted, and then you got relegated again. Talk me through the emotions of those couple of years.
Yeah, really, really tough. When I was 18 and playing again, I was just happy to be playing, and it was almost a compliment that I was starting at such a young age in the Premiership and in the deep end. Now, yeah, getting relegated, awful news, whatever. But we had a great year in that champ. That's when you came, wasn't it? That year in the champ.
Yeah.
What a year. Yeah. So there's some good time offs, good piss ups in that year. But ultimately, you don't want to be there for too long. You want to be in the big time in the Prem. But yeah, we weren't able to do it and stay up. So I then went to Newcastle Falcons then, where it was good up there and got relegated again.
What was the reason behind your decision to go up to Newcastle? Did you have the opportunity to stay or go anywhere else? And what was the deciding factor to head to Newcastle?
So that year, Newcastle came fourth. Champions Cup rugby, playing a really good brand of rugby. I felt like that was the massive difference from us, the London Irish. We were quite physical and a real strong kicking game plan around the time. That's to put it politely, wasn't it?
You loved it.
We hated playing rugby at London Irish, but I loved my time there. So yeah, going to Newcastle, they play from deep. Love getting the back's hands on the ball, and I just felt like it would really improve me as a player, and just getting a fresh start almost. That was my only rugby influence as an academy and as a team. That's the only thing I've seen. So all my opinions and all my thoughts, I guess, that was how to play. So I needed, like a fresh set of eyes and a new way of looking at the game, I felt, which would only add another string to my bow as a rugby player. Yeah.
How'd you go up there?
Yeah, it went well. From a rugby point of view, yeah, it was really good, going really well. From a personal point of view, but as a team, we did struggle that season.
So you made am I right in saying you made the English team to play the Barbarians while you're at Newcastle? Is it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I guess the Barbars. Yeah, Twickenham.
So how was that?
Again, really good week. So our attack coach at Newcastle ended up coming in and taking the attack for England that week. So I knew again how we wanted to play, and so I guess I could, as a player, drive that coming into that England squad. But yeah, it was a good week. It was quite a chill, relaxed week because it was 2 weeks after the end of the season.
Yeah.
So they knew we had a heavy socials celebrating the end of the season. So it was quite a relaxed week.
Yeah.
And then playing against the Barbars, it was quite an open game. So I was so tired because it was so open, and we'd been on the piss for like 2 weeks. So.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good camp and it was a good week.
And then a real setback hit you, didn't it? And what was it, 2019? You got diagnosed with testicular cancer. So that you've gone from the high of playing as close as you can get to international rugby to being hit with that bombshell. How was that? And how did you find out about that?
That was a real tough time in my life, I guess. Of course it was. And it's quite a long story, but I guess we've got time, haven't we, Jim?
We've got as long as you want. We can make it a mini series.
So yeah. So I knew there was a problem. Basically, I was in the bath and I knew I had my testicle was hard, basically, and I knew it wasn't right. You just know your body, So I went to just a local GP. Had some tests. They said, right, fair enough, you need a scan. So I ended up playing in that England game and having the 5 weeks off, and that's for summer, So in the back of my head, I was told no lumps or bumps. I just need a scan. So I kind of put it to bed for that 5 weeks, enjoyed my 5 weeks,
True.
And came and went back to my parents' house in Reading. In that time, in the back of my head, I knew I needed a scan. So I went somewhere to get a referral for a scan. They checked it and said, no lumps or bumps. I think this is fine. But also, we can't refer you to a scan. I said, well, this is pointless. And so, again, it was twice I was told that there was no lumps or bumps, but it was hard. So there was nothing to worry about. but you know your body, you know it's sore and achy, and I knew it was hard. So once I've gone back to Newcastle, this was 3 months after. Now I've left it for 3 months.
Jeez.
It had swollen up a bit larger, and it was we did a contact session, and I got like a slight knock on it, and it must have been aching for about an hour after. I was in agony, and I just knew that something really wasn't right, and I needed to go and see the club doctor.
Yeah.
So I just dropped my pride, went and saw the club doctor, dropped him a message saying, "You need to have a look at this." So he checks back pretty quickly, saying, "Come to my clinic ASAP." I've got 5 minutes till I go home. So I rushed to his. He had a look at it, said, "How long has it been like this for?" I said, "It's been like this now for about 3 months." He was like, "Jesus Christ. All right, we'll get you in for a scan, booked in tomorrow morning." So went for my scan, just, getting the scan done, having a bit of a laugh with him and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, he puts, what's it called? The ultrasound. He's finished with the ultrasound. And he was like, "I think you've got a massive tumor in there." It was 44 mil tumor. So wow. he explained this to me. But like, we've gone from having a laugh to, right, you've got a 44 millimeter tumor in your testicle. Do you know what I mean? So it was almost like what? Like, okay. Yeah. So I didn't really know how to take that. He said, "Don't panic. It might not be cancerous. You'll go to the oncology and they'll give you, they'll tell you the results and the next steps." So again, straight away booked in for the next day then with oncology. They said, I see these every day. Obviously, that's his job. So he said, "This is 99% malignant." I didn't know what malignant meant at the time. So I was just, straight over my head. But
what is it?
Like, what does that mean? Yeah. It basically means cancerous. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. And yeah, once it was obviously broken down to me, the hardest part was telling my parents that I've got testicular cancer and what that meant for me in my career, the question marks over that. Yeah, it was a really hard time, real bad time for me. But looking back now, it's just made me a stronger person.
Jeez, that's crazy. Did it ever feel life-threatening?
No, not to be honest, because we had 2 guys at London Irish who had testicular cancer, and they were brilliant for me. Yeah, they gave me a lot of advice. Andre Quinn. Did you meet Andre at London Irish?
Andre was a lad, yeah.
Oh, what a lad, yeah. So he helped me massively with my preparation for the chemotherapy, all the advice in the world. So he helped me massively, and I literally saw him go through it firsthand, and so I knew it wasn't life-threatening as such, but he did downplay it a little bit, I guess, and he did massively downplay it, and so it was 10 times harder than I thought it was going to be, going through especially the chemo side of it. I think that was the hardest side of it. Yeah. Beforehand, the surgery, it was almost like a mini injury. It was like the surgery, removal of the testicle, and then I was told if it's not cancerous, I could be back in the club and rehabbing within a month. True. And I was like, oh, right, this isn't too bad. Yeah. But once oncology said we recommend chemotherapy and going through that and what that meant, and it was completely different. Nothing can ever prepare you for that, I guess, and how mentally tough that is. So yeah, I ended up going through that. I had one cycle, but one cycle was 4 days on a 24/7 drip of chemotherapy, and then a week after another half an hour, and then a week after that another half an hour. Yeah. So that's one cycle. And yeah, definitely the hardest time of my life so far.
Yeah, what is it about the chemo? Is it like what it does to your body, or is it just like, what's it actually like?
So it just knocked me for 6. Yeah. Just really ill. Like, you've got the worst bug. I felt nauseous the whole time. Like, I couldn't move really out of bed. Wanting to be sick, or just feeling like I was going to be sick, but I wasn't actually sick, which is even worse. Just can't even get it out. Yeah. And even when you're off it, you have spikes in energy. So I might have a visitor, for example, like my parents or my mum or dad or or friends from the club, like the Falcons boys, came up and saw me quite a fair bit. So they'd come and see me, and I'd get a little spike in energy and perk up a little bit. But the minute they would go, I'd absolutely crash, and I'd just sleep and sleep and sleep. But I felt even worse then.
Yeah.
Like, wanting to be sick the whole time, literally couldn't even turn over, that ill.
Crazy.
And once that was the 4 days in hospital, but even leaving hospital for the week after, it was just, I couldn't get off the sofa. I had to isolate because my white blood cells were really low. So I'm used to isolating now, but because of that. But no, as I said, it's a real hard time. But yeah, it did send me for 6. I wasn't prepared for that because I guess I've never seen it. I didn't even know how chemotherapy was taken, I guess. I was kind of quite blind to all that side of things. But yeah, nothing can prepare you for that news and what I went through with that.
Would it have been any different if you got onto it early, if you got that scan straight away? Would anything have been different? Yeah.
So they said I needed the chemo because it started spreading. The cancer cells had spread into the blood vessels, basically. So if I did catch it earlier, I wouldn't have needed chemo. I would have had the surgery, and just rehab the surgery and be back playing, and it would have been, over my head and quite naive about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I did leave it for 3 months, not necessarily to my fault, but because I was told there was no lumps or bumps.
Yeah.
It ended up being 3 months, and then all of a sudden it started to spread, and then I needed the chemo from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why around the awareness part of it, which I feel like my role is now, is to raise awareness for testicular cancer, but all cancers. And even if I've had quite a lot of messages since I've spoken out on the facts and tried to do that, how common testicular cancer is in men.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like that's my part, and that's what I can add other than just, rugby. It gives me a purpose other than rugby as well, which is good.
So what stopped you from going to see your team doctor at the start?
Just pride, really, just because I knew him. Yeah, and just I didn't fancy him seeing my bollocks. So I just went to a GP who I didn't know, and two GPs who I didn't know, who said no lumps or bumps. But I just thought, it's easy. After the 3 months went by and I seen 2 doctors, it was then the best thing just to get the club doctor who was better, and he was really concerned. Yeah, I should have done that a lot earlier in hindsight.
And what's the key to finding it early? What is it? Just any abnormalities in your testicles?
Yeah, because the doctors said no lumps or bumps, and they were looking for the lumps or bumps, but I didn't have lumps or bumps. I had the firmness, which is abnormal. So yeah, any abnormalities to look out for, and be quite strict and ask the questions. Like, they're obviously not always 100% correct, if you know what I mean. So pressure them, ask the questions, get answers.
True, but then obviously you had an amazing recovery and you were back playing. How long was it before you were back playing?
So I finished chemotherapy on the 8th of October.
Yeah.
And I was back playing in January.
True. How was that, I guess, rehab from that, or like recovery to build back into being a professional rugby player again? Did you lose much weight, etc.?
I didn't, to be honest. I tried to do as much as I could. So once I finished the chemo, it was quite hard because, as I said, I had the energy highs and lows from that. And I had to isolate as well. So I was almost doing body weight stuff from home if I felt good enough to. I didn't force that on myself.
Yeah.
So as soon as my isolation period stopped, after about a month it was, or 5 weeks I think, I could slowly return to the club, but keep my time at the club quite limited. So I literally just gym and a small return to running program, and just built it out from there, really.
And how did you go when you're back out there? Did you feel like the old Johnny Williams?
Oh, yeah, Lazarus. I felt like Lazarus.
Straight away.
Finally being able to run. Yeah. No, it was good. Yeah, it was a good performance when I came back. I was just happy to be playing again. You go from from a hospital bed and realizing there's other things to rugby
Yeah.
to finally being able to enjoy training and just enjoy playing again for what it is, and really appreciate what I do for a living, which is just playing.
Yeah.
So it was just good to be back playing, really, and not having the pressure on performance, just going out there and just doing me, I guess.
Doing you, how good. And then you obviously spoke about your Scarlets move a little bit before. It was brought upon by COVID, and then a massive offer from Scarlets, huge coin, and you just couldn't resist.
No, so I signed middle of lockdown, so tiny coins.
Had you finished at Newcastle?
Yeah, I was out of contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, great opportunity arose at the Scarlets, which I couldn't refuse.
And was Wales part of that deal? Did you have anything about Wales included in that offer, or no?
No, absolutely none. No. So I thought if I could go to Scarlets and try and nail the 12th spot, I thought I'd hopefully get into the team quite quickly. I had a goal of the summer tour,
Yeah.
the one coming up, but I was named in the autumn squad, which was a massive shock. I didn't think I'd get in that quickly, but yeah, that's what I mean by the opportunity at Scarlets. And obviously I put two and two together, and I thought it was a great opportunity to go and play for Wales, but I didn't think it would come as quick as it did.
Yeah. And how was it going into that environment, international setup?
Different, hard. The training, the intensity of it definitely jumps up. The pressure as well, because like Wales and rugby's under the microscope, I guess, at the minute with COVID, and obviously the press, everybody wanting to know what's going on in camp, who's doing well, the pressures of performance. Just it goes up tenfold from the regional rugby, I guess.
Yeah.
Not to say I didn't enjoy it, because I loved it. It was really good, and that was my goal, as I said from the start, to get to that level and play for Wales. So no, it was amazing.
Did you cop any flack from the English media or the Welsh media about doing that move? Because obviously a lot of people would have thought you were sort of on the frame for England, and then you're probably one of the closest players to playing international rugby for two countries.
I not that I read.
Yeah.
I was quite self-conscious of it at the time. But once the announcement was made, I guess people put two and two together that I was going to play international rugby for Wales, but without the promise. It wasn't like I was promised that.
Yeah.
So I guess people were saying that I was going over there just like to play for Wales. So yeah, people did put two and two together, and a lot of people were saying that I don't deserve it after playing in that England game and stuff. So, but not that I stayed away from it. I didn't look at it. I didn't read the comments, because I know that would affect me massively. So I stayed far away from it. And once I started playing for Scarlets and playing well, it gone, and people were saying I should be playing for Wales. So it comes and goes just as quick. So 100%. Stay away from the hate.
Haters will always hate, eh? But then how was it? How was your debut? How was it leading up to your debut? The first time you got named and leading into that first game, how was that?
Yeah, huge game. Again, massive pride. I felt like after everything I'd been through, it finally all lined up. It was seriously scary times with the cancer stuff and then the COVID thing, wondering where I was going to play my rugby, but it just all, the stars aligned for the opportunity, and I took it. So yeah, it was massive, and seeing how proud my family were for that. It was just a shame they couldn't be there, because they'd seen how much hard work I've put into it as well. So, but no, it went well. We won. It was a miserable night in the rain. So the rugby that was played wasn't that great, but the occasion was massive, and it was a moment I'll never forget.
So what's it like playing your international debut with no crowd? It's sort of not how you'd picture it, eh?
No, I know. It's crazy. Yeah, I pictured it at the Principality, and we end up in Parker Scarlets as well. So, but yeah, no, it was as I said, it was a great game. It was a time I'll never forget. But yeah, it was a shame the crowd weren't there. 80,000 fans going mental, but instead, man and his dog out of the game.
And then going forward a wee bit, I wanted you to talk about your game against England, because obviously that would have been a interesting one for your emotions, going up against a lot of your ex-teammates or people that you've been really close with throughout your career. How was that? How was that game?
Yeah, so I was obviously really, really nervous for the game. Selected to start. Again, I had, not so much doubts, but question marks if I could, really play at this level. So yeah, played well in Georgia, but no disrespect, but the standard of opposition obviously rose, and I'd be asked loads more questions in my whole game. So yeah, it ended up going really well. It ended up going well. We didn't get the win, but yeah, it ended up going pretty well, to be honest.
So humble, eh? You're still very humble.
Humble lad.
Such a humble lad. You're on fire that game.
Yeah, no, it was.
There we go.
I had to put in a lot of tackles, that's for sure. We didn't have much of the ball, but so my defence was asked a lot of questions. So,
true.
But yeah, no, it was a good game.
And you usually rate your games on how much guaranteed gain line lightning quick ball you got, so it must have been hard for you to judge.
I know, and I didn't get much that game, but I put some big hits. I'll tell you that.
But are you now feeling really comfortable in the Wales environment? You feel like you're a part of this squad now and you're comfortable in there?
Yeah, so yeah, 2 camps. Definitely starting to feel more at home in the camp. But again, you never want to be too comfortable in that environment. There's always someone, one in your spot in there. But yeah, no, definitely being familiar with the surroundings and the hotel and how things work. But yeah, as I said, everyone's after a spot in that camp, so you can't get too comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing we haven't even talked about yet is your time at Scarlet. So how was it going to Scarlets? What was different about there? I know they're a pretty heavily attacking side, so you must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, exactly. Similar to Newcastle in the way we attack, which was get our hands on the ball, get the back's hands on the ball, which I felt like suited my game. I felt like I could show what I could do there. And I'm loving it there. The lads down there are great. Facilities down there are amazing. Yeah, the boys are class. Just loving it down there, mate. It's really good. A
few good Kiwi lads there too.
Yeah. Who do you know down there?
Johnny McNichol. He's there, isn't he?
Yeah, what a lad. What a lad. He listens to the podcast.
Does he? Yeah.
He listens to it.
I'll have to get him on for sure.
Yeah. Definitely get him on.
Blade Thompson?
Yeah, another lad.
Yeah.
Gotta get him on, boy. Skillful player. Yeah. What a skillful player. What a player.
What a player. He's playing for Scotland now.
Yeah, we've got some good players down there. Yeah. He's up Scotland. I think he's concussed at the minute. So
he's had a bad run with concussion, eh?
Yeah, I've heard that in the past, but he's a great player. He'll be back.
And you replaced the GOAT Hadley Parks, didn't you? You're a big fan of Hadley Parks.
Oh, Paxi. Yeah. I didn't get to meet him, so I don't know him, but yeah, I've heard fantastic things about him. He was a great player and great lad.
You two would have gone on like a house on fire. You two.
You got to get him on.
So many people, so many lads, eh?
I know. So many seasons coming up.
So good. But anyway, what's your plans going forward? Have you got much of a plan? How long are you with Scarlets?
So I signed a 3-year deal. But yeah, I'm comfortable there. I could see out my career there. To be honest, I'm loving it. It's closer to home than it was at Newcastle, so I see family. I see family a lot more than I do, which is great. Living in Cardiff and doing the commute, so I love Cardiff. My girlfriend Hannah loves Cardiff. Just loving it, mate. It's going well. So yeah, see myself being at the Scarlets for a while.
True, and you're only 24. That's real hard to believe. And how's the body? Is your body feeling still pretty fresh and young? You got another 10 years left in you?
Yeah. No, sometimes I feel like a 30-year-old, but after games when I've got that gain line and guaranteed quick ball. but yeah, no, I think if you do your recovery right and the lockdown as well would have put couple years of my old 24-year-old body. So, but yeah, body's fine, mate.
Yeah.
So as I said, I'm still 24, still hopefully got 10 more years left in it.
Oh, what a career that's going to be, man. I can't wait to follow that. Have you got any plans after footy? Have you started looking at that, or are you just going to you'll probably retire straight after footy with the amount of money Adrian's making?
Yeah, well, this is it. I want to be a wealth manager, financial advisor, because I feel like I could do a better job than him. And he's making serious money.
Talk to me about your time with Adrian.
Wow. There's not much to say because he didn't do anything. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this. That's all I got to say, mate. Jesus, he took my money and ran.
The financial advisor. So you're not still with him,
nah? I've just got a new one in Cardiff who looks after all the Welsh boys, and the boys rave about him. So I thought, God, I got to jump ship, just like you did.
I got out straight away. I saw the red lights.
Yeah, you saw it. I was there like too scared to bloody offend him, even though he's losing me so much cash. So I finally pulled the plug. But yeah, I've got a new one now.
Oh, nice. But what about after footy? Have you got any plans? What would you love to do?
No, yeah, I was being serious. I would love to be a financial advisor.
Oh, do you actually? Holy heck.
Yeah, wealth manager, yeah. So I've just started the course with CISI. So yeah, I've literally just started that last week.
Oh, that's going to be good.
So yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm doing a property development alongside now in Reading, and hopefully that gets finished soon, and just keep building for the property portfolio.
Look at you,
wealth management.
Would you be able to look after my money? I haven't got much.
All that cash. Yeah, there's too much money, man. I can't look after all of it.
I lost it. Adrian took it all.
Yeah, he split it in half, didn't he? He lost half of it.
Oh, what a journey. What a career. Like we said at the start, so many ups and downs. Jeez, what an absolute journey.
Yeah.
But as always, we've gone to our Instagram for some questions, and like all international rugby stars, you've come up with so many questions. First question, does he like a cider with an overhead clap?
Who's that from? Are you allowed to say who it's from?
Yeah, that's from Willis Halaholo. What's that one all about?
Is it from Willis? Basically, someone in the Welsh squad had a video from a stripper completely naked, and they had their legs wide open like this, and she just slammed her legs like that. So we just copy it, and we just do the overhead clap. So that's what the overhead clap is this video from a naked stripper. But yeah, so the cider bit I don't know because I hate cider, but yeah, that's to give that context. That's Willis was in the room, but I won't say who the video was sent to anyway.
Oh jeez,
it wasn't Willis, by the way. It wasn't Willis.
I know it wouldn't be Willis. He's a good kid. Okay.
Yeah.
How long do you spend doing your hair before games?
5 minutes. No, that's too long. See, nah, just a little bit. Look good, play good is the motto. So just a little bit.
What's your hair routine though? So what's the process? Because it does look good.
Yeah, just a shower.
Yeah.
And a little bit of product in, not too much. And that's me. But yeah, the boys obviously must think I spend a lot of time hair drying it and hair blowing it, but no, that's not me. Not me.
You got a nice thick lid. I think that's the thing, eh?
But yeah, it is thick.
Snake
is thick.
I
go to the barbers. Yeah, I go to the barbers and get it thinned out. Meanwhile, you could do with something.
You should send him all of your thinned out bits.
Yeah, off the floor at the barbers and just put it all together and put it on his head, glue it to his head.
I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Speaking of Snake, he's sent in a question. Has your builder?
Oh, what a lad!
Has your builder sued you for nearly killing him yet?
No, he hasn't. So to give this context, I've got a house that I'm doing up in Reading. Save a bit of cash. I thought I'd do I'd help out basically with my dad and the builder. And there's an outbuilding out the back that's big breeze blocks. So we were on the back wall and, hammering down this wall. But he, last second, as this wall's about to fall down, decides to go inside the building. So we pushed this wall onto him, this massive breeze-blocked wall, and like one breeze block claps him in the back of the head, scrapes all the way down him, and there's already breeze blocks on the floor. So he lands on all the other breeze blocks that are already on the floor, and then this massive wall's just come tumbling on his head. I was in shock. I thought I killed him, and my dad just didn't give a fuck. He was casual as you like, you're right. His name's Stu. You're right, Stu. I'll go get you a beer from the co-op to say sorry. And meanwhile, I was like, oh my god, I almost killed this guy. I was in shock, shaking. But yeah, that's he's got a good memory, Snake.
He does, doesn't he? He loves it.
Yeah.
Was Stu all right though? Is he still your builder?
He does bits and bobs now. He won't take on massive projects after that.
No wall.
Especially if I'm involved. He stays away if I'm involved. He'll do it on his own. But if I'm there, no, he's not. He won't do it.
Oh, classic. Oh, that's a good one. So, next one. What's your favourite social? This will be good because you've mentioned a few diesel apps, and you're obviously a big man on the diesel. You go well, you go good, you go hard. What's your favourite one?
Yeah. Well, we've had a few good ones, haven't we? There's always the standard fancy dress one. That's good. We had a really good one at London Irish where. Do you know the one where we did the city slickers going on the boat through town? Do you remember that one?
I do.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I remember Scott Steele giving the middle finger to all the OAPs on the side, giving the middle finger, and then we literally just pulled up next to him and got off the boat next to him, and it was just so awkward. That was a good one. That was a real good night out. But again, you can do loose, or you can go and have a real good posh night out as well, where you've got to be smarter dressed, go to some nice clubs.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
But yeah, I do both. I'm versatile.
You're very versatile social man. Yeah,
Yeah.
You can pull it all off. How good. Okay, next one. If there was one other club around the world, who would it be that you could play for?
I love watching Super, so probably Crusaders.
Oh,
wow!
I thought it was coming.
Nah.
You love
probably Crusaders.
Championships.
Yeah, I love titles and getting relegated. So I'd probably get the Crusaders relegated, even though they can't.
Oh, good one. Okay, who's the hardest player you've had to tackle?
I remember Nathan Hughes almost knocked me out. It was like our line out, so obviously 10 back, turnover straight to him off the line out, and he had a good 20 metres run up at me. And I thought, oh my God, do I step out of the way or do I just go hard at this? So I tried to chop him as low as I could, and I think I almost died.
Wrong option.
Yeah.
Should have chosen option A.
Yeah. So he's one that comes to mind straight away.
Yeah.
Manu Tuolangi, obviously really hard. Yeah, I'll probably go with those two.
Yeah, nice. Good options. Okay, who's the best player you've played with? This is an interesting one. You've played with some greats.
Yeah. If you give me a minute, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Man, I've got to say, you're up there, Jimmy.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, the way you spoke about the game, like, it just opened my eyes, Like, we had Brendan Venter, obviously, we were knocking the door down. But... yeah, the way you spoke about the game and how we wanted to play was how I wanted to play. So I saw eye to eye with you on that.
Oh, that's good. People think this is a stitch up if I'm your answer. You need someone good.
Yeah. So obviously being at Scarlets and being a centre, Jonathan Davis outside me, he's been a real good mentor for me. And with his experience, he's up there. We've got some really good big internationals, British and Irish Lions at the Scarlets. So I could name a few of those boys who are really good with their prep, really professional, but they also deliver on the pitch. So I could name several from London Irish, Newcastle, and Scarlets really. But I would be here all night.
So many good players. Who's the best player in the world, do you think, at the moment?
I would have to say Semi Radradra or Dupont, but yeah, I just watched Semi Radrad's game, and not only is he impossible to tackle, but he looks like he's got really good hands. I've heard he's really professional. I've heard, yeah, and I've seen how much he carves up. His offloading game, yeah, his handling's good. I just think Semi Radrada, but as well, the way Dupont manages the game, and he's flary as well. So I'd probably say those two.
Oh, a couple of good options. No Kiwis there. Interesting.
Richie Mwonga's up there.
Yeah,
to be fair, Richie Mwonga.
I thought he was going to be your
play is
answer.
unbelievable.
I know you love the
Yeah,
Crusaders.
yeah. I've been watching the Canes. He's a good footballer, isn't he? But nah, Radrada.
Radra. Fair enough. Okay.
Radrada.
This is a good one. How have you handled setbacks throughout your career? Obviously, you've had a few, some really significant ones. What's the key to handling them?
How I handle it is by remembering what's important, but also then having the goal. So in that time, it was being around my family and friends, because I was deprived of that being at Newcastle. So spending time with them, but then having the goal to get back to rugby as soon as I could to get to the top level. So that, for me, those two things were massive in my biggest setbacks. Nice.
Jeez, that's good. Okay, last question. What's the best piece of advice you've had throughout your career?
This is a bit of a random one, but when I was younger, I probably lost sight of the goal a little bit, and the teacher, my PE teacher, who loved rugby, was also my county coach, and he could see that I was a talent, but he could tell I'd lost a little bit of focus to get there. And he just sat me down once and was just, he said that what he thought, and that I could get to the top and all this sort of stuff. But he said, you don't want to be that guy at the bar who's going to say, I could have made it, and I should have made it, and is now just saying to everyone, I didn't make it because of X, Y, and Z, and had every excuse under the sun of why I should have made it, basically. But I had that chat when I was about 15, and it really hit home, because I've seen that around the rugby clubs that I was at, where they were saying they were really good and they used to play for X, Y, and Z, but some injuries held them back, you know?
Yeah.
And so once he said that to me, it really opened my eyes on why I wanted them to regain focus. So it wasn't so much of advice, but he did sat me down and gave me a bit of a bollocking and said, you could get to the top here, stop pissing about, basically.
Jeez, that is some of the greatest advice we've had. Yeah, that's so good, because so many guys that tell you about how close they got to becoming a professional rugby player.
I know.
Oh, my knee just locked up one time.
Footballers, yeah, exactly. So even you hear that all the time. You hear it all the time, but even at 15, I knew what he was on about.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to be that guy at the bar. Oh, I could have been there. No, that's not me. I am there.
Oh, I like it. Great advice. What a way to finish. Absolute great podcast. John Boy, you're an absolute legend. It's been awesome to see you go through your journey and get to the Wales international side. It's been awesome to see. I obviously love playing with you at London Irish. Love playing off lightning quick ball and getting that guaranteed gain line. You did it every time. You're an absolute legend, and I'm looking forward to following your journey as you progress. Hopefully, I'll see you out there for the British and Irish Lions in South Africa. How good would that be? But if not, I'm sure you'll get to some massive highs throughout your career. And I said, looking forward to following you. So thanks for giving up your time and coming on. What a lad.
Thanks for having me on.
Perfect, mate.